Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's session of the Future Kings Show is about the instructional programs that we have within the Future Kings. Tonight we're going to talk in detail about some of those, about two of those instructional programs that we have. But for those of you who have not been with us before, the Future Kings are a nonprofit group that's been in Prince William County now for 10 years. Our tagline is that we are engineering great futures, and we do that for the purpose of serving our community and raising the economic standards of those in our community through STEM education. We're a STEM-based group, and all the work that we do is centered around STEM education. In addition to that, we have a 21st century portion of our training, and that 21st century teaches our young men things such as financial management, workplace protocols, presentation skills. So our goal is to create well-rounded young men who are going to go out into the community and make a positive impact. Tonight we have two of the leaders of our instructional program. We do have four technical programs. One is BioMedical Sciences, another one is Custom Engineering, a third is Cybersecurity, and the last one is Computer Game Design. Two of the leaders of those four technical sessions are here today, and I'd like to let each of them start by introducing themselves. Dr. Cunningham, can we start with you? Would you tell us first your whole name, the name of your company, and which concentration you lead?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Dr. Tashaka Cunningham. I have a PhD in molecular biology. My company is called True Genomics Health. We are a precision genomics company developing genetic diagnostics for mental health disorders like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
And Mr. Nightingale?
My name is Lawrence Nightingale, and I'm the Evening Weekend Coordinator at Northern Virginia Community College, and I'm the leader for the Custom Engineering program. My focus is to get as many students, men, and in this instance, students from Future Kings involved with 3D printing, digital fabrication, and getting their hands on hardware that's going to help them to make objects that are computer-generated real.
And I understand that you're getting close to finishing your doctorate.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Does your work with Future Kings feed into that at all?
Very much so, yes. What I'm doing is the students who are Northern Virginia Community College students are being given the opportunity to teach younger people what it is that they know. And all the research that you hear in higher education says that when you give somebody the opportunity to gain value by teaching or showing what they actually know, they have greater confidence in their education. It's a much more rewarding situation. So what I'm doing is I'm giving these students these opportunities, and then it's a qualitative study. Basically what I'm trying to find out, or what we're trying to describe, is what happens to a community college student and their sense of self. How do they see themselves when they get the opportunity to use the 3D printer? And so that's a lot of different phases. Use 3D printers for their own personal interest, teach custom engineering for the Future Kings, do digital and engineering tutoring within the schools in Prince William. So by doing the multi-layer approach, what I'm really wanting to see is when somebody has an experience, are they then going to see themselves as different? Will they see themselves as somebody that is an engineer when maybe they didn't before? And then building that familiarity, maybe their brothers or their sisters, instead of thinking, oh, well, I'll be a psych major, or I'll be a business major because I've heard a lot about this. Giving students the opportunity to then be exposed to engineering and maybe gravitate towards engineering, computer science, which are six-figure jobs with bachelor's degrees. So that's what I'm trying to do.
So you can definitely be planting seeds within the secondary students in our program.
Very much so, yes.
Okay, and Dr. Cunningham, would you lead the Biomedical Sciences. Would you tell us something about the course that you're teaching, what the boys are going to learn this year, for example?
Yeah, so the goal of the Biomedical Sciences curriculum is to really give our Future Kings participants hands-on, real-world experience in biomedical research that will make them employable by any top pharmaceutical or biotechnology company in the world. Mm-hmm. So our boys are being trained in all kinds of cutting-edge techniques, including DNA molecular cloning. So for this year's curriculum, we're actually going to be cloning a cancer gene. So we're going to clone a gene that's involved in cancer health disparities, actually, from African Americans and Caucasians. So, for example, in prostate cancer, you see an incidence of 5 times more frequency in African American men than Caucasian men.
Okay.
And some of that may be genetic. So there have been some genes that have been identified. They may be markers of this. So the boys in this cohort are going to, I'll have 2 teams. One team is going to engineer a genetic variant that's going to make a gene overexpressed, making more of a gene, and the other team is going to make a gene that is less expressed. So there are 2 different kinds of methodologies they're going to learn molecularly. One is called gene therapy, which is actually a way to add a gene into a cell and make that gene be overexpressed. And the other one is called siRNA, that is short inhibitory RNA. It's actually a way to decrease the expression of a gene. So these are 2 really cutting-edge principles that are making their way into clinics right now as genetic therapies for diseases. So my goal is to have the boys get this hands-on, cutting-edge training experience, so if they're working in pharma companies in the future from now, they're very well prepared.
And these boys are in middle school and high school, and that sounds like it's probably graduate-level stuff. How do you communicate such complex, advanced topics to kids in this age group?
Well, we have the benefit now of, I've had this cohort, in the cohort for at least 3 years. So my top sort of students in the cohort are now being leaders of those 2 teams. So they have hands-on skills in terms of learning how to pipette, to actually manipulate small volumes.
So these are hands-on skills they've developed over the years. It's not their first year. They've been in it for a while.
And then the first-year players, the first-year participants will learn from their peer mentors as well. So we have this kind of tiered level of learning. You've got your peer intra-group learning, and then me at the instructor level showing them all the hands-on skills. So it's kind of like a trickle-down effect that we've actually been doing for the last few years that's worked quite effectively to make all of the boys gain the skills very rapidly.
One thing about somebody learning and gaining skills and then contributing to the organization is that with 3D printing, my philosophy is kind of almost the opposite. 3D printing as a tool for custom engineering is designed to be easy from the beginning. Adrian Breuer, who developed what they call Rep Style 3D printing, he put together the system such that somebody could go and print and hit a button and be able to 3D print. And really, what my interest is with the Future Kings, what I really like to see is that somebody can walk in with no experience and realize that they have the potential to then, I can use this to engineer a bridge. I can use this to engineer a car. The starting point is very, very easy to access. And so somebody coming in brand new, those people are just as valuable because they also bring in new ideas for custom engineering. So it's kind of funny how people can contribute whether they are brand new or whether they are experienced.
And so that's a great point. And in the biomedical track, we take advantage of this sort of team approach because often in the pharma industry, you're not working by yourself. You're working as part of a team. Point, yeah. So part of really what I wanted to train them on is prepare them to join a workforce as a team. So you'll be a part of a team of biologists, chemists, and other types of professionals that are working to develop a drug for a specific disease. And in this case, we're looking at cancer. So I think the boys are going to get a lot out of it this year because now they have I have enough critical mass of boys who've participated that have the baseline skills to really get more advanced at this year.
And Mr. Nightingale,
yes.
I'm aware of different military applications for this kind of, all kinds of commercial applications where people who may be in remote areas who can't always get a supply they need, but a machine breaks down, and they've got to find a way to create that machine in the middle of no place. And they're using 3D printers for that.
Yes. So the concept that you're talking about is applied in a lot of different areas. You're right. The Marine Corps, in particular, is doing a lot of work with 3D printing. What happens is that in the supply chain, it cuts to the supply chain, it compresses it incredibly, so that somebody who needs a door handle in order to get out of a Jeep or a personnel carrier quickly, when that door handle breaks, it is not fair for that soldier in the field to have to wait 3 to 6 months to get that handle. You 3D print it, and you're ready to be in action again. Other things that come to mind when you talk about rural areas or remote areas, maybe without infrastructure, people are doing things like they're 3D printing energy sources, windmills, water generators, things of that nature. So there's a lot of different ways in which people can start to help themselves and not wait on the supply chain, or maybe be less exposed to some of the political pressures and things like that are around them. So for people who use 3D printers in different parts of the world, we even have students who are at Nova they're printing resources, and they're sending alphabets, 3D printed alphabets, to their home countries in Ghana and things of that nature. So once again, when somebody picks those machines up and they realize just how inordinately easy it is to make something real and make something real that's of substance, they start running with it, and then all kinds of things wind up happening.
Both of you have been with Future Kings for a number of years. You practically started the technical concentration that we have here. So you built relationships with some of the boys in the program over the time. Tell us about one of the best parts, Dr. Cunningham, about one of the best parts of the relationships you built with some of these students.
Well, I think of them as kind of like, my sons, right? I've got, I have two sons of my own that I've burnt, that are,
and your honorary
Future Kings, because they're 7 and 9 that I brought to the sessions, and the boys in the cohort are like big brothers for them. And so, I'm so proud of the boys in the program and how much they've learned, how much they've progressed. And in our sessions, I actually have a component where the boys have to get up and teach. So I'll ask them to teach a certain discipline that we've learned. And, again, they can all get up and are knowledgeable about the core elements of the course now, so that they can all go to a whiteboard and write it out. And that is graduate level stuff. So that to me is very exciting, that they're already having those skill sets. They have that level of confidence with the material. They're only going to get better as they continue actually through school. So
I remember
very excited
Dr. Michael Wooten, when he came there, they had to teach him about some of the stuff they had just learned. And he was very, very impressed the way that worked. And for you, Ms. Nightingale, what kind of changes have you seen over time, and what kind of growth have you seen in the young men in your part?
What I've seen largely, it's two sides of it. I've seen the students who are the Nova students who are doing the instruction and things of that nature grow their skill level and increase in their self-confidence. I've also, for somebody that's a community college administrator, what I like the most about what I see is that I see the same young men that were in middle school, learning how to design games and working off of the game design programs and stuff like that all over the campus, that we see them on Saturdays. And then when they're 18, 19 years old, there they are, students at Nova. And the number one thing that community college should do is it should affect the economic outlook of the area in which it serves. And really, the Future Kings is a huge tool in that, because we're teaching people how to get high-paying STEM types of jobs, or high-paying STEM types of skills that they might be able to use as in a gig economy, versus if they don't want to do it full-time, that's fine too. But seeing those students come in and work towards degrees and certifications that will reinforce the economy, that's my favorite part of it.
Because we do have some graduates of the Future Kings program that are now going to Nova and in your work study program.
Absolutely, yes, that's right.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
As part of the continuing growth of Future Kings, this year we've implemented some new learning technology. I'm gonna call it learning technology, but we set up the Future Kings Academy and are using Google Classroom and all the G Suite products in order to bring that. So both of you are intimately involved in putting those materials in the classroom for access to students. What kinds of positive effects are you expecting to see from this new way of being able to provide materials to kids?
I think it's exciting. It almost prepares them for the online learning environments that they can encounter throughout their educational career. And I think it just helps us because we can catalog and archive all of the work that we're doing, all of the training that we're doing, and even provide some additional resources that will just help their learning. So I'm very excited to be able to use these tools.
For me, what I like about it is just the universal nature of the Google tool, the Google tools, the Google Classroom. My own daughter in the first grade came home and she had to sign up for a Google Classroom account. So all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but it comes apparent to me as a user that not only can the students in the Future Kings use it, but then if you give somebody the access, anybody on the whole planet can use it. And so what I really, really like about it is the opportunity to provide inexpensive / free knowledge about how to use this technology and the universalness of it all. So, and then also I realize it's very capable because I've also used that same platform for other instructional things that I'm doing. So it's given me another set of skills, and it's given me a way to kind of take instruction and make it very, very portable and also archive it as well. So it's great.
Now, both of you are highly skilled, very marketable skill guys, but yet you volunteer with Future Kings. We couldn't pay you what you could demand on the open market, but you volunteer with us. And I don't make it seem like I'm looking a gift horse in the mouth, but please tell me why you do that. And I'm loving it. Okay,
I do it, and we're going to continue to do it because, like you, Eric, I'm passionate about the development of these young men in our community. They are our future, and this is a way for me to pay it forward. All of the training and research and development that went into my development as a scientist and as a working scientist, I now get to pass on to the next generation. And any kind of impact, or if one of these boys goes on and finds the cure for something one day or even contributes to that, that's a ripple effect that happens from our engagement. So I don't need to get paid. It's like paying it forward because all of the impact, any one of them getting better jobs, any one of them contributing more to society, any one of them trying to improve health through scientific research, that's payment enough for me.
Okay. Lawrence?
I volunteer for a number of reasons. First of all, because as a community college, we really need to be supporting our community in ways that are easy and ways that are difficult. And so my volunteer work is part of that. Also, for me, what's most important about what we're doing with custom engineering is that right now, custom engineering through 3D printing, it's almost a brand new technology. For about a year and a half that I was into 3D printing, I never met another person that had a 3D printer. And so I'm volunteering with this because we're getting to write the story. We're getting to write the story about what happens with 3D printing. We're getting to start the images of what somebody who uses a 3D printer looks like. And so to me, what we're doing is, why the reason I volunteer is because I feel like there's a very, very powerful thing we might be able to do on the other side, where all of a sudden 3D printing or custom engineering is part of our ethnicity. It's part of our culture. It's part of our self-expression. If I close my eyes and I think about it, I almost think of it as like jazz music. Can we get 3D printing to be the kind of thing where people are thinking about greats like Coltrane and all the ways that we can be creative through technology? And that's why I do it.
I know that you keep saying 3D printing.
Yes.
But it's part of the engineering program.
Yes.
And so I've heard you talk, and I know you're teaching the young men about the various stages in that process.
Yes.
From maybe scanning an image.
Yes.
Into having to manipulate that image using math and other drag and drop techniques in order to design that.
Yeah.
And then outputting to a certain device.
Absolutely.
And I'm hearing you use the 3D printer as an output device.
Yes.
But there are a number of other types of outputs. And I've heard you talk about how if they understand what the entire how the entire system works,
right,
that they can gain opportunities in any stage of that or the entire way.
Absolutely.
And is that something that is teaching the entire system a core component of what you're doing with them, or do you do different parts at different times? I mean, is it always combined in the teaching, or do you break it up into different stages?
I think I think it's necessary to break it up into different stages. And that's because people have different strengths. People come to the table with different things that they gravitate towards. So
it's kind of the collaborative thing that Shaka was talking about before.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some people are more creative, so maybe you might want to use more of a creative type of suite for design. Some people are more mathematical or programming oriented, so maybe they might want to do more of a CAD type of design. Based upon what people are coming in with, you can kind of build on top of that in order to get them to the engineering part of it. I think when we talk about the research and STEM and engineering and things of that nature, one thing that often comes up is the fact that things are poorly designed. You can make something that's manufactured, but if it's not attractive, if it's not lightweight, or if it's not designed well, people won't use it. Okay, and so doing it in different stages means that you get a lot of different people with a lot of different skills, and becomes a much more useful end product.
And we're going to be closing pretty soon, but I had a couple questions for you, because both of you teach environments that are co-ed. But here in Future Kings, it's all boys. What are some differences that you see between teaching a co-ed classroom and teaching a single-sex classroom like Future Kings?
I think I don't see that many differences, to be honest with you. I mean, I guess in our disciplines, and you have to be very focused on what you're doing. The boys in our program are very focused.
Yes.
You have to have good attention to what you're doing, whether you're a boy or a girl. So I don't see that many sort of gender-based differences. I think it's very interesting when you get boys on a team and get them competing against each other.
Okay.
I think that can bring out the best in them.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. This year is going to be the first time we really separate into teams and say, have at it. So we'll see how that works.
And Gideon and Alex.
Gideon and Alex will be, one will be lead on one, and one will be lead on the other.
Okay.
And this is how the real world works.
Yeah.
Because in pharma companies, you have different teams. And when you're in research groups, you have different teams competing for grant money, competing to get discoveries. So it's a very real representation of what happens in the workplace.
It's be a great learning experience for them, because they're very close friends anyway. And they've been friends for a long while, and this will be the first time I think they've actually competed against each other. But it's not going to be a cutthroat. It's going to be. They will. I'm looking forward to see how that works.
Me too.
And how do you see the difference between co-ed and single?
I think the single-sex male environments, it's a lot. There's a lot more concentration, a lot more focus in those settings. I think that sometimes when it's coeducational, there's more distractions for whatever reasons. I also think that when you do single-sex female versus single-sex male, you have to do a lot more inviting of the female students to come in and really kind of show them that they are capable of using these things, because the story is not always that women are in engineering or that women are in computer programming. So there's a lot more engagement that needs to happen in order to really kind of kickstart things. However, we did have a co-ed robotics camp this summer, and the boys, what they did is they set up their machines. They were like, "This is going to work. We got faith in it," and rah rah rah. And the girls were constantly tweaking on that computer. They were constantly changing their programs, and you know what? The girls won. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, Future Kings has a chapter in the National Society of Black Engineers, and as part of that, we're setting up a STEM for Girls program. So it'd be nice to get some girls in here, also as a single gender class, and see if we can build on the summer camp experiences.
I just did an interview with a student that worked with me for an entire year in the 3D printing lab supporting the custom engineering program. And she told me that she was a STEM person, but you know what? If I had never talked to her about it, I never would have found that out. So that conversation, like discovering that this person literally saw themselves as a STEM person, I thought it was just happenstance that she wound up working there. That means that there's a lot more potential for people to enjoy and engage in the NSBE program for STEM for girls.
Okay. Well, we're out of time. I really enjoyed talking to both of you. Even more, I really can never tell you how much I appreciate the volunteer hours that you put in with us. It is invaluable both to our organization and to the community at large. So don't give up, and we'll continue to build on the service that you're providing to our organization. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we end tonight's session. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next month.